Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Heroic Haven. Today, we're taking a look at the hits and misses from all those incredible cameos from Deadpool and Wolverine. To be clear, I want to talk about some of the characters that we wish we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine, maybe some that we were expecting to see that we didn't, as well as some of the best real cameos that occurred. I'm Trevor Lane, joined by my guy, Donnie. You may know him as D-Free. Donnie, I'm excited to dive into this.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine's got so many cameos that it was pretty hard to decide on this list.
It really, really was, but I think we're going to start here. Hits and misses. The Cavalrine. It was a very, very short appearance, but we've all been asking for this for so long that Henry Cavill could wind up being the replacement as Wolverine for Hugh Jackman, and to get to see him in character. I'll admit, I thought he looked like a big, bulky version of Wolverine, which is certainly not comic accurate Wolverine, which we also saw. He was such a little guy. It was funny, but seeing Henry Cavill in this as Wolverine, that was a blast. I don't think it's going to wind up really happening. It's going to be like John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, which we saw in Multiverse of Madness. I think it's going to be more like that. This is just going to be a one-off. I don't think he's actually going to fill in for the character, but it was cool to get to see nonetheless.
He looked really good, though, I'll say. I thought the hair, the stogie, everything, he looked awesome. But it was only for like 15, 20 seconds, unfortunately. But I think that was a nice little teaser there for fans. And, you know, I'm not so sure he would make the best replacement for Hugh in particular, but I wouldn't be mad either at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. All right, let's jump over to one that we were hoping to see that we didn't. One that they even faked this out on, Cyclops. I was thinking we're going to get, okay, the James Marsden Cyclops is going to show up at some point in this movie. There were even some images going around where it looked like he was in it, and unfortunately, he wasn't. I was really hoping to see that version of Cyclops once again.
Yeah, I completely agree. One thing I want to say really quick on the last one, Cavalrine reminded me of cavalry. So we got the cavalry coming for Hugh in this movie with the Cavalrine. I'm a little late on that joke, but yeah, in terms of like, honestly, in terms of Cyclops, I think you could say the same thing about literally almost all of the characters from the old movies. So just if anybody's watching this, like, why didn't they mention these characters? We only had a few we could pick from. And yeah, I think that Cyclops would have been a really, really cool inclusion into this movie. And it's also kind of interesting how like Wolverine has been thrust into the public eye as the X-Men when, you know, that you could argue maybe that should be Cyclops. So as a Cyclops fan, I would have really enjoyed seeing him in this movie, especially in full costume, just like Wolverine was. So yeah,
I feel like we haven't really seen his power set fully explored just yet. Maybe that's something to come, but I thought that was a miss. I'll tell you one that was a big hit though, was Blade. Right? I mean, this isn't like the Iron Man necessarily for the Fox movie. It's not like he had that kind of an impact here, but I watched and rewatched all of those Blade movies so many times. It was so cool getting to see Wesley Snipes as Blade coming back, especially because Ryan Reynolds was in one of the Blade movies, kind of seeing that kind of dynamic play out and everything. That was a lot of fun. I thought that was a big hit and a real treat to see Wesley Snipes back as Blade.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that he is now the longest running actor to play a character in the MCU. So that's pretty cool too. Eclipsing fellow movie mate Hugh as well. So that's pretty awesome overall. Seeing him come back in the full outfit, everything. He seemed like he had a pretty nice role in the movie as well. And it was pretty funny to see him do the line where he's like, there's only been and there only will ever be one Blade. And then Deadpool's like,
because we know another one's coming. That's right.
Potentially, if that movie ever gets out of production hell. So
we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Such a great character.
Yeah.
All right, let's go here. A miss. I thought there was an opportunity to link things to the MCU a little bit more with what happened at the end of the Marvels. Now I know some people didn't watch the Marvels or didn't like the Marvels, but at the end of it, they wound up in a universe where there was Beast and Binary was there, and we got to see that little post-credit scene with them. I thought maybe there would be some type of connection there, that maybe that could be a connecting point here, and we didn't get to see it. In fact, we didn't get to see Beast at all, which even if you go back to some of the other Fox X-Men movies, Beast was such an integral character. When you look at Days of Future Past and the interactions between Beast and Wolverine and we didn't get to see him in this one. So that was a bit of a disappointment. No Beast in this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Beast is one of the characters that you would love to see in any property, including any X-Men characters. Quick question on that post-credit scene. Photon is trapped in that universe currently, isn't she?
Yeah, supposedly, unless something changes. Yeah, right now I think she is trapped there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to recall back to when that movie came out and when I saw it, but I'm just curious about that because with these post-credit scenes and with some of the inclusions of characters, they kind of just throw stuff at us as kind of like hints. Like, you know, there are a lot of different like cameos that have happened over the last several years of characters or hints at other characters, some of which we talked about in the previous video. If you didn't see it, check it out. But with that, I'm not sure how they're even going to pay that off in general, looking at the upcoming slate of things. So kind of weird on the front of Photon, but definitely, again, any X-Men, like I mentioned earlier, especially a character as well-known and renowned as Beast would have been awesome to see. And I think he could have brought some nice wisdom to the team in the new movie as well.
It does worry me that they're never going to come back to that. And she just kind of winds up being forgotten.
That's what I'm like. Is she just trapped here indefinitely or when are they paying this off?
And she's going to be like the third Winchester brother in Supernatural that it doesn't come up again until like the very, very end of after years go by. Then suddenly they're going to go, oh yeah, she's over there. Let me ask you this before we move off of Beast. Would you prefer to see the Nicholas Hoult version or the Kelsey Grammer version?
Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Definitely.
I'm with you.
Definitely.
On that. All right. One of the things that I thought was a hit was X-23. Being in Deadpool, Wolverine, and playing a pretty central role was great. Seeing her there in action, just a very, very cool character. And I thought that they were able to give her as much screen time as they did and make her as much of a part of the plot as she was. I mean, she played a really big part of the movie in terms of talking with what was known as the worst Wolverine, kind of having that conversation with him that she did, and all of that. That was a fantastic moment, and I was glad to see her back and in this movie because she was such a big breakout hit in Logan.
Yeah, definitely. It was really cool to see just another Wolverine variant in X-23. She's not really Wolverine. She's her own character, but you know what I'm saying. Seeing her in the movie as well is just pretty cool. Also, calling back to a child actor, seeing them again, something cathartic about seeing them a little bit older, a little bit wiser, playing that same role. I really like that a lot. Absolutely.
All right. One of the misses, I was really hoping to see Professor X in this. I was hoping to see Patrick Stewart, some version of him in there. Maybe even the Multiverse of Madness one that ultimately gets killed off by Wanda. Maybe that one. I don't know. They even had the yellow chair and everything for him in that one. Yeah. But I was hoping to see Patrick Stewart pop up in this at some point.
Yeah. I think that he would have been a really cool one. But when we talk about this, we also have to reference which one we're talking about. Maybe Multiverse of Madness. Okay, we're not really talking about Logan so much, but I think we agreed it was more of like Days of Future Past in that era of him being Professor X. And I think that would have been cool because he would have fit perfectly, I think. And I also always loved his dynamic with Logan as well. So that would have been awesome. And like I said earlier, I think you could say this about a lot of characters. I would have also really liked to see Magneto as well. Having him, the movie is so cameo laden that it comes down to like how are they going to introduce these characters at that point. But at the same time, I don't care, just throw them on the freaking screen. You did it for Henry Cavill, you gave him 15-20 seconds, you can do that for anybody else. I'm cool with that. Just let me see them, like we talked about with Marsden earlier. I would have been insanely hyped if I just saw him in the costume. That would have been really, really cool. Maybe you don't do it like the Flash tried to do it with the cameos and all that stuff they tried to do, where they're like panning around. Maybe you don't do it that way, but like show them for a brief moment, like, hey, what was that? What's going on? Like, that would have been cool. But unfortunately, they didn't do that. And Patrick, I think, would have been a prime candidate. Also because he's so iconic in that role. Exactly. He's somebody a lot of people grew up watching or have seen in all these movies. And he would have been really nice.
These movies were like a love letter to Deadpool and Wolverine was like a love letter to those Fox movies of days gone by. And to not see him in it when he was such a central figure. It was a bit of a disappointment. But I'll tell you what, this one may be controversial. We'll finish up with this. Gambit. I thought was it. People are mad at his accent, but I thought Channing Tatum as Gambit, finally seeing it, maybe it was a little bit of a stretch going with the comic book accurate costume, but I get this whole movie was kind of like a nod to the fans. Usually what they do when they're putting a character on screen is they tone down the comic book version of the costume because sometimes it just doesn't play that well in real life. And so some people felt like it was over the top, but I thought the Channing Tatum, if you lower the accent, you've turned down the volume on the accent like 20%. It's not going to get nearly as much criticism. I thought that he did well as the character. I thought it was really cool seeing his power set out there on screen. And personally, it left me thinking, man, I want to see more of Gambit.
No, I agree, but I actually disagree on one thing. I want to turn the accent up to 20. That's
Oh,
what I want to do. I want more accent. I enjoyed the hell out of that. The woo, I'm about to make a name for I can't even say it like that. Like I think he nailed it personally, and I think his action scene was so awesome. It's so cool to see him finally playing that role. I think he's honestly one of the best possible castings for it too. Yeah, the costume is a little bit over the top. Like it doesn't really look I think the costume like conceptually looks amazing, but I just didn't really love the portrayal of it. I think it looks good, but it just kind of looks weird at the same time. But I want to turn the accent up. From what I heard, it's an authentic accent. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not, like I told you before, I'm not the world's foremost expert on accents. But regardless, I think that he did a great job in the role, and I want to see more of it, but we probably won't. But regardless, I enjoyed it.
man, you turn that accent more, you're gonna have to subtitle the movie.
Turn it all the way up.
All the way up. Give us the full Cajun Gambit. So Gambit, his big appearance in Wolverine and Deadpool was fantastic in my opinion. And for you, if you are like Gambit and play your cards right, you can hit the like button on this video and check out our next one, which is going to be on the MCU and the worst moments that we've seen. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.